When someone once had the bright idea of taking a traditional motocross race and staging it inside a football stadium, they'd have never have imagined just how successful that concept would be. Supercross is a huge sport now, not just in the United States, but all over the world. Last weekend, some of the world's very best riders came to Melbourne for round 2 of the FIM Oceania Supercross Championship, and the event attracted a big and enthusiastic crowd to Melbourne's Marvel Stadium. Unlike the recent Sandown 500, where Supercars Australia did their very best to keep the event a deep, dark secret known only to those lucky Foxtel subscribers who are in the know, the AusX people actively promoted the event, and they were rewarded with pretty good coverage, including from the normally motorsport adverse ABC. On the Friday before the race, the promoters held a media conference, and many of the top stars were on hand to talk about the event and, wait for it, promote their sport. I know, it's a crazy idea, isn't it? I mean, even in pit lane got an invite. Imagine that. One of those stars present was probably the biggest the sport has to offer. Ricky Carmichael's a 5-time world champion, a NASCAR driver, and now television commentator. He can't quite break free from his love of dirt bike racing though, and he caught up with a slightly starstruck Doc to talk about his amazing career.
Hi, it's Doc here from In Pit Lane, and we're here at Australian X Supercross this weekend. What a great weekend, beautiful stadium. We're out here at Marvel as usual, and I am absolutely astounded. I'm lucky to have the, arguably, and he's got the great GOAT, greatest of all time, Ricky Carmichael here with me, and it's such an honour. I and many other Australians here grew up as a kid watching Mr. Motocross out there in Broadford and all around Australia, and it's a shame, but you know, we've got something better these days, and to have Ricky here, it's incredible here. Thanks for coming over, Ricky. You're enjoying your time here in Australia?
I'm glad. This is my 3rd time here. I'm really enjoying. This is my first time to Melbourne, though, and man, what a place. I'd like to come back another time on vacation. It would be super nice to experience the city with not having to work. But man, what a beautiful venue here at Marvel Stadium. Looking forward to it. There's a lot of great talent that everyone's going to see tomorrow night, and man, I'm just glad to be a part of it and be invited here.
2002, 2004, you wrapped up every single race in those 2 years. One was a breakout year. The second one was you came back from injury, was a knee injury, I think it was, in that year.
Right.
Which one do you rate better? Come on, it's hard to split hairs, I know, but they were just huge back in your career.
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say 2004, just because coming back from an injury, I had my recon on my ACL. So to have that fixed, repaired, and after taking a 4-month break, to come out, win the championship, and go undefeated was definitely a nice feat. 24
races for 24 as well, though, too.
Yeah.
And not only that, it was the first time, I think, on a 4-stroke as well, too, on the Hondas, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah. First time on the CRF 450 back then. So it was a pleasure. It was a season that I'll never forget, without a doubt. And when I first went 24-0 undefeated, I'm like, there's no way I'd be able to do it again. And then, man, if I didn't do it again 2 years later. So definitely special, something that I'll take with me until the day I'm gone.
If there's any racer who could challenge for the title of the world's best Supercross rider over the past decade or more, it's Australian rider Chad Reed. Reed was, for many years, Australia's highest paid athlete. But the years of top-level competition and several major crashes have taken their toll on the Australian, who is on the comeback trail after his most recent injuries.
Yeah, I got out there today and rode a little bit, and definitely felt better this week than I did 2 weeks ago. So I think that, racing this weekend is totally possible. So that's the goal. It just felt good to get back out on a dirt bike, to be honest. It's been a rough kind of last 3 weeks. So, you sign up for these races, and for me, these races are so important, like they're not just jumping on a plane and, going and race a dirt bike. This is my home, and it's important to come and show up. So, I felt like if I really, really had to race in Auckland, I could have, would have been for sure, far less, than my 100%, but I could have got through it. But this for me is the main one, and it's more important to have a shot at racing tomorrow night.
At the other end of the experience spectrum is 16-year-old Australian rider Jett, who made his pro debut on Saturday night. Competing in the USA this year, Lawrence has been unstoppable, racking up a multitude of prestigious amateur championships, which have made him one of the hottest new talents on the international scene. The 16-year-old Queenslander recently signed a lucrative long-term contract to ride under the powerhouse Geico Honda squad in the 2020 World 250cc SX2 Championship. Lawrence's brother Hunter is already a top competitor on the US scene, but if self-confidence is any guide, his younger brother will soon be up there with him and challenging the world's best as well.
A race is a race. I'm racing guys that know how to ride dirt bikes, and I know how to ride them also, so it's the same. There's a turn, there's a jump, everything's the same, so yeah, it doesn't change anything really, just go out and just ride like I know what to do.
You're surrounded by a lot of legends of the sport, people like Chad and Ricky, and I mean, have they been speaking to you? Have you got any tips from them, or is it a matter of that you're not really interested at this stage, you're just going to get out there and do your own thing and let things fall as they may?
No, they've obviously helped me in a few things and that, but yeah, they said most of the stuff I'm doing pretty right. They mainly say just do what I do basically, and I'll be good. So yeah.
Your brother's already an established racer. I mean, you were fairly confident about beating him as well. Tell us about the family background. Is it very much a family sport?
Yeah, it's definitely a family sport. Everyone's into it. My mum is, Hunter, Dad. It's definitely a whole family sport for us. Yeah.
So when did it all start? When was your first race?
My first race, I don't know when, but it mainly just started from my dad being a trail bike rider, and and then when Hunter came along, he's seen racing, so he ended up doing that, and yeah, obviously when I came along, I just went straight into racing.
So talking about heading to the United States next year, I mean, how difficult has it been to put all that together? I mean, we talked to a lot of four-wheel racers, and moving to race overseas is a multi-million-dollar proposition. It's a lot more accessible on two wheels, particularly in motocross. How hard has it been to put all that deal together?
It's obviously you have to be pretty good to get a ride there. It's definitely expensive to try and go over there and do it out of just pocket money. So it's been pretty difficult, but if you do if you're fast on a dirt bike and they believe in you, then it's not too bad, and you can get a contract and that stuff, which helps a lot.
American rider Jason Anderson is the 2018 World Champion. He won the opening round of this year's series in Auckland, and he was delighted to be able to race in Melbourne for the first time and experience just a little of what the city has to offer.
Yeah, yesterday we got right off the plane and went straight to the art museum and got to check some of that stuff out. We checked out the coffee place down there, and honestly, it was just cool to walk around the streets and just check it out. That was the coolest part, and honestly, just it's cool to hang out and the camaraderie between all the riders that we have here. Sometimes we see each other at the airports and stuff like that, but that's about it. So whenever you're cruising around here with people that you usually just see at the airports, it's really cool to have that type of camaraderie in the sport, which is insanely rare in our sport right now. So that's the coolest part about the whole thing, and then obviously traveling the country and seeing different cultures with your friends and stuff like that. Can't get much better than that, and it's awesome. The past couple of years I've came to this race, I've had a good time and luckily been able to come out with a win. And it's switched venues, obviously, from Sydney to here, but I think it's just bigger and better here, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be fun, and I'm hoping to get the win. It would be cool, and just enjoy my time here. I have a blast here all the time, and really enjoy coming.
Come Saturday night, and all that promotional nonsense that just doesn't work, I mean, just ask anyone in four-wheeled motorsport, seemed to somehow pay off, as 34,000 people packed in to watch American rider Justin Brayton take his first ever victory at the event. In the process, the American also clinched his fourth consecutive Australian Supercross crown after what has been one of the most nail-biting years in the championship's recent history.
I was just so sick of talking about it. I was telling people that this week. I'm like, hey, this guy wants to do an interview with me. Like, I'm so sick of talking about it. I just want to race, and even friends and families calling and this and that. So, it was just, I couldn't wait to get behind the gate and to finally get it done and to finally win AusX Open. And like I said, that was the main goal. So with that goal, you win the championship as well. So happy to win both.
For Chad Reed, it was an emotional final hurrah in his home country, and a moment he's unlikely to forget in a hurry.
I didn't expect the emotion to hit me so hard, to be honest. You know, it's one thing to have the discussion, you know, behind closed doors with your people, but you know, when you were there yesterday when I did it, and you know that moment when you're, you know, like you're about to announce it to the world, it just come over me and like was so like unexpected. So yeah, to get through the weekend was tough, but yeah, as far as racing, I don't know.
A large and enthusiastic crowd at a great accessible venue at a price people can afford. Good promotion and friendly, enthusiastic competitors eager to introduce their sport to as many new fans as possible. It's not rocket science, but for some, it seems as unfathomable as ancient Sanskrit. 2019 was a big year for the DTM, the world's fastest, most expensive and spectacular touring car series. After years of normally aspirated 4-litre V8 power, 2019 saw a revolution for the new series, a 2-litre, 4-cylinder, turbocharged engine. The V8-loving purists were horrified. How on earth could such a tiny engine ever replace the thunder of a big V8? Well, they didn't need to worry. Not only were the new engines even more powerful, they actually sounded pretty good as well. Audi's championship-winning engine was designed and manufactured from scratch, and with the company's racing and rallying history with championship-winning forced induction cars, they certainly had the background to produce a remarkable piece of automotive engineering. The new engine, dubbed the RC8, produces 610 horsepower in normal conditions. But as it also features a push-to-pass function, which allows drivers to bypass the fuel flow restrictor and increase the rev limit for 5 seconds, there's an extra 30 horsepower on tap, which puts the engine into the same power league as a V8 supercar engine. Under the new Class 1 regulations, which the DTM shares with Super GT in Japan, cars have their fuel flow rates limited to around 93 litres per hour, which means the consumption of the new DTM engine is, for a racing engine, extremely low, and now within the ranges that used to be typical for a diesel engine. The compact motor, weighing just over 84 kilos, my left leg weighs 84 kilos, or about half the weight of the old V8, is mounted at the front and set back as far and as low as the regulations allow. The reduced size and weight of the new motor allows the engine to spin to a red line of 9,500 RPM. This reduction in engine mass brings the dry weight of the Audi RS5 DTM car to just a tick over 1,000 kilograms before ballast. Ulrich Beretsky, head of engine development at Audi Motorsport, is famous for the reliability of his racing engines. I mean, winning 13 Le Mans 24-hour races is no accident. The development engine spent over 1,000 hours of high-speed running on the dyno, and every engine runs for about 2 to 3 hours before being installed in the car for racing. All this added power and heat of the new engine created other problems though, especially with cooling. The RS5's bodywork was significantly redesigned and modified to help cool the brakes and reduce engine temperatures. The position of the water and oil cooling systems, exhaust and the intercooler also factored into this major redesign. All this work clearly paid off as Rene Rast drove his RS5 Audi to a championship win. Audi winning 12 races in the series, including a run of the final 7 races straight. Meanwhile, in Australia, next year's Red Bull holders are rumoured to be wearing a new shade of blue. Remember, you heard it here first. With Chaz Mostert moving to Walthamstow United, Tickford moved quickly to secure the signature of Jack LeBrock to be its new driver of the Super Cheap Autos Mustang for season 2020. It's an exciting career move for LeBrock, and one he intends to take full advantage of.
Yeah, it's pretty unreal to finally be a part of the stable here at Tickford Racing full time and part of the Super Cheap Racing team. So yeah, absolutely stoked. It's one of, I suppose, a dream come true to finally be in a team of this size and an operation like this. So yeah, can't wait to get into 2020 and yeah, have a good run.
It's not LeBrock's first time racing for Tickford, as he drove with the team in 2016 to finish second in the Super 2 Series. He was also the co-driver with Cameron Waters in the Monster Energy Falcon, finishing fourth at the Bathurst 1000.
Yeah, look, I worked with this team back in 2016 through DVS and the Enduros with Cam Waters. So yeah, just love being around this team. There's a big bunch of guys, a lot of brains you can pick, a lot of engineers, mechanics. Everyone really knows what's going on. There's a lot of faces been here for a long time as well. So from that point of view, it's pretty awesome. It's really cool team vibe, and yeah, just really looking forward to getting into that big team atmosphere and yeah, really learning and trying some good results.
Tickford also announced that Super Cheap Auto would continue their long-running support of the team. The sponsorship began 5 years ago, and LeBrock is well aware that he follows in some pretty impressive footsteps.
Yeah, Super Cheap have had some yeah, really big name drivers in there, and I think coming into fill, I suppose, Chaz's shoes, there's probably some of the biggest ones that's probably driven for that brand. So yeah, big expectations, but it's one of those things I like to, just want to go out there and do the best job I can, and yeah, if we can do half as good as what Chaz is doing, it's going to be pretty awesome. So yeah, looking forward to the challenge, and yeah, hopefully we can bring the same amount of success that Chaz has brought to this team.
The 2019 Formula 1 season is finally over, and with all the titles wrapped up, the last round at Abu Dhabi was all about pure racing and end-of-season bragging rights. It was therefore only appropriate the champion-elect Lewis Hamilton led from start to finish. Max Verstappen was passed early in the race by Charles Leclerc, but fought back to take second and finish a career-best third place in the World Drivers' Championship behind Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Leclerc's third place looked in doubt after stewards found Ferrari guilty of providing an inaccurate declaration of the fuel in Leclerc's car ahead of the race. The team was fined €50,000 for the breach, but the Frenchman held on to his third place. Daniel Ricciardo's disappointing year with Renault continued with an 11th place finish, one ahead of his departing teammate Nico Hülkenberg. The countdown now starts for the opening round of next year's championship, as the world will come to Grand Prix City Melbourne and the running of the Australian Grand Prix at Albert Park on March 15th. DTM legend Matthias Ekstrom has begun public testing of the brand new Cupra E-Racer. With a year to go before it makes its debut in the new ETCR series, the Cupra E-Racer is powered by electric motors over the rear axle, developing an impressive 680 horsepower. According to Cupra, a performance sub-brand of SAE-A, the electric engine is less complicated, far more efficient, and requires less maintenance than a traditional internal combustion engine. The car needs no conventional gearbox, and all that instant torque provides acceleration from 0 to 100 km per hour in only 3.2 seconds, with a top speed of around 270 km per hour. The car also features an energy recovery system that harnesses energy from braking and decelerating for efficient energy management and increasing the car's range. Hyundai are also testing their contender in the new series. The all-electric Veloster has been testing at the Hungaro Ring. The brand new car completed 2 days of trouble-free running. The test allowed engineers from Hyundai to learn more about the chassis and to begin to harness the power from the mid-mounted electric motor to maximise its performance. The new ETCR series is scheduled to begin next year, but no firm dates or venues have yet been announced. Speaking of motorsport of the future, university teams from Australia, New Zealand and all over the world are arriving in Victoria for this weekend's annual Formula SAE Australasia Championship at Winton Motor Raceway. Formula SAE-A, or Formula Student as it's known around the rest of the world, is a unique motorsport competition, and it's not all about pure speed.
So Formula SAE is a student-run, well, not a student-run competition, but a competition where students can design and build a little Formula-style FSAE car. It's open wheels and open cockpit, and basically allows students to, use the skills that they learn at university to build a car, big project, that sort of thing. So the competition's split up into design points and dynamic events. So, well, not just design points, but also we do like a business case and some other things like that. But yeah, most of the points are based in dynamic events, which means the car has to perform as well as it's designed. Not always the case, but it always works out well if it is. So we have skid pan, which is basically a test of steady state cornering. We also have an acceleration event, which tests how fast the cars can complete a straight line. We have an autocross, which is like a one-lap wonder sort of thing. Basically, it's fast, just one lap. And then we have an endurance race, which tests the car's ability to be reliable.
Electric-powered races are now not only growing in numbers, but also becoming more competitive. The University of Auckland will run an all-electric car in this year's competition. The event gets underway with static events on Friday, before the cars head onto the track for the dynamic events on Saturday and Sunday. Admission for spectators is free at Winton, but In Pit Lane will be there bringing you live coverage of the weekend. So just subscribe to our YouTube channel for more details. And that's the In Pit Lane motoring news for the week commencing Monday, the 2nd of December, 2019.
Hey, every song reminds me of you. I'm wondering if you're missing me too. There's people around, but my mind's on you. And the days go slow and I can't hear your voice. You be here given a choice. I promise one day we'll do this together. You can do whatever you want. Well, now and forever, you will be the one I want. Oh, but don't deny me a lifetime of loving you. If we can let our hearts surrender, you can do whatever you want. Love will always keep us together. And if we can let our hearts surrender, you can do whatever you want. Love will always keep us together. Oh, now and forever, yeah, now and forever. Yeah, I'm going through the motions of life, acting like I'm alright, but secretly 'cause my mind's on you. And the days lead me right back to you. Oh, we've got a lifetime to prove. Days linger when I'm with you. You can do whatever you want. Now and forever, well, you would be the one I want. Oh, but don't deny me a lifetime of loving you. If we can let our hearts surrender, you can do whatever you want. Love will always keep us together. And if we can let our hearts surrender, you can do whatever you want. Love will always keep us together. Open your heart and give in to mine, 'cause we are alive. And I'll never let go, 'cause you're some kind of miracle. Oh, well, you can do whatever you want. Love will always keep us together. And if we can let our hearts surrender, you can do whatever you want. Love will always keep us together. And we can let our hearts surrender, you can do whatever you want. Love will always keep us together. And if we can let our hearts surrender, you can do whatever you want. Love will always keep us together.